Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. That time of the morning where I pretend to be Dr. Abati and start shouting. Joining us now is OG Nika Okpe Genix with stories trending around the world. Hello, OG. Loud enough?
Perfect. You're always excellent. You do it right. You know that.
I've studied my Egba brother
Your acting
very
debut
well.
right
Yes.
here on Arise TV. Good morning, Tundu Abiola. How are you?
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Good morning, Rufai Hussaini.
Morning, Audrey.
I actually called your first and last name, and I'm going to stick to it.
Oh, thank
How
you.
are you?
Very well.
Perfect.
Thank you, Audrey. Morning.
All right. Well, good morning to you, viewers. Here are some of the stories that are trending across the globe.
In the United States, the Federal Bureau of Investigation searched former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate as part of investigations surrounding his involvement in the January 6th Capitol insurrection and whether he took classified records from the White House to the estate. Trump, in a statement, condemned the FBI's actions, describing it as a siege while affirming that nothing like that has ever happened to a United States president. Then, Gregory and Travis McMichael, the father and son convicted in the killing of Ahmaud Arbery, received a second life prison sentence on Monday for committing federal hate crimes, months after their first for murder, at a hearing that brought a close to more than 2 years of criminal proceedings. William Rudy Bryan Jr., the third man involved in Arbery's killing, was also sentenced to 35 years in prison, which will be served at the same time as a state sentence. Under sports, 23-time Grand Slam champion Serena Williams picked up her first victory since the 2021 French Open on Monday, beating Nuria Perez-Diaz at the Women's National Bank Open. It is the second tournament of the season for the 40-year-old star, who returned to competition at Wimbledon just over a month ago. Under entertainment, tributes pour in for Olivia Newton-John, the Grammy-winning superstar who was best known for her role as Sandy in the blockbuster film version of Grease. Olivia was among the world's most popular entertainers. She had 14 top 10 singles in the US and has won 4 Grammys. Her duet with multiple award-winning actor John Travolta, You Are the One That I Want, was one of the biggest songs in the 70s and early 80s and has sold more than 15 million copies. She is survived by her husband and daughter. She was 73 years old. Finally, Afrobeats musician Kizz Daniel, whose viral hit song Buga has gained global acclaim, was reportedly arrested in Tanzania on Monday for failing to perform at a concert organized as part of his Afro Classic World Tour. According to reports, the singer was later released. As stated by the chairman of Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabiri, a video showing fans of the singer at the Old Nextdoor Arena, the venue of the performance, damaging parts of the arena in anger over the singer's failure to show up, has gone viral.
Tundu Rufai, this is quite unfortunate, but apparently it's not the first time it's happened to Kizz Daniel.
No.
The organizers, they allege that, they invested $300,000 for that event alone. I saw that on Daddy Freeze's Instagram Live. And they also said that the reason why he refused to show up for that event was because he didn't have his chain with him. I just find that so unbelievable. I mean, Rufai.
I mean, it's so sad. See, it's a contractual agreement. You are paid to perform. You sign the agreement. You must perform. If you don't perform, then the clause in that agreement that says if you don't perform XYZ must happen to you. Nigerian acts must learn to keep to agreements. Chain or no chain. It's as simple as that. Because people too in that regard lost money. The reason why they brought you there as an act to perform is for them too to be able to make money off your fame and for themselves. It's business in the end. Moses is Moses, business is business. So it is best we keep to contractual terms. I don't know what the police is saying. I'm hearing stories about him. I think they've granted him bail already. I don't know anything about this story, but it's a bad one because it is report. In fact, it's even bigger in the East African press than here.
Yeah.
It made one of headline stories in Kenya yesterday. The fact that Kenya was having elections today, but he was making headline stories in press like The Nation in Kenya and some other newspaper. Let's just the root of the matter is just keep to agreement. You're there to perform, go out there and perform.
Oluwatobiloba, I love Kizz Daniel. I mean, this is so unfortunate. I do not like this story at all.
It's awful.
Yeah.
And that footage of him being led away with somebody sort of hectoring as he was led away by the police and put in their vehicle was really unfortunate.
Yes.
So I'm really glad that he's been released. But yes, like you said, Rufai, this is a recurring theme. It's constant. It's happened with him before as an individual.
Yes.
It's happened with a lot of other artists. And I think that the negotiations are such that every little detail has to be agreed. It tends to be things like logistics, transport wasn't right, and then the artist decides, as creatives are wont to do, to be a diva about it and just not show up. But it does make the individual look unprofessional. And these artists, we're incredibly proud of them because they're ambassadors of our country. So you do end up making the rest of us look bad. And we already have enough problems with xenophobia all over Africa, where a lot of other African countries, I hate to say it, they hate Nigerians because they want to be us. They find us as uppity Nigerians, so they're going to be like, oh, well, there they go again. So it's just, it's damning for all of us as a society. Now, I did say a few days ago in your segment with one of your stories that we are a superstitious bunch in Nigeria. Maybe that chain was a lucky talisman for him. But if you cannot find your chain, you can just have the one performance without it. I'm sure it would have been fine. And I think the reason why the organizers had to take it as seriously as they did was because of the criminal damage that happened to the venue. The irate fans of Kizz Daniel decided to vandalize the venue, so they had to be seen to do something about it, unfortunately.
Well, all right. We'll take another story. Nobel Laureate Wole Soyinka on Monday reacted to a viral video showing some members of the Association of Sea Dogs, otherwise known as the Pyrates Confraternity, purportedly mocking the flag bearer of the All Progressives Congress, Ashiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. In the video, the group dressed in white and red attire could be heard using the catchphrase, Emi Lokan, attributed to Tinubu. In a statement issued on Monday, Soyinka distanced himself from the performance, stating that he is not in any way connected to the feelings the remarks were intended to convey. The Nobel laureate added that it was necessary for him to comment on the video because he is connected with the group, insisting that the video is clearly a new and bizarre development fraught with unpredictable consequences. His statement read in part, "In addition, let me make the following cultural affirmation. I have listened to the lyrics of the chant intently, and I'm frankly appalled. I find it distasteful. I belong to a culture where we do not mock physical afflictions or disabilities, very much the contrary. The Yoruba religion indeed designates a deity, Obatala, as a divine protector of the afflicted, no matter the nature of such affliction. This sensibility is ingrained in us from childhood and remains with us all our lives. It operates on the principle of moral frailty, to which all humanity remains vulnerable." Rufai, over to you. We discussed this yesterday.
Like we said yesterday,
exactly what the
I
Nobel
thought it was
said.
really in poor taste,
Yeah.
the chantings and the songs against Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I thought it was in poor taste and it was very sad. And like Professor Wole Soyinka said there, it is not something right to do.
Yeah.
Campaigning and electioneering about the issues, not about, mocking people based on their health, because anybody can fall sick. And I've had my own challenges with health. People have got their challenges with health. I've got people close to me that were not born with disabilities, but now they're disabled because of old age. And I have to care for them. So I don't believe it's right to say, oh, somebody's hands are shaking, the legs are shaking. No. But it goes back to the issue like I stated yesterday. Once people put themselves up for positions, electoral positions, they should also, as a result of public accountability, let people know what is happening as regards their health. People vote for you either with or without your health. We had an American president that was on a wheelchair, but it's still one of the most popular presidents.
FDR.
FDR.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
He had polio, and he was, what is it called? He couldn't move around. And nobody inspired America. In fact, FDR is the first, correct me if I'm wrong, or the only American president to have won 3 terms.
Yes.
3 terms.
He's a legend.
He's a legend. And he had polio. And he didn't only do it, he was in charge during the war. It was said that when Pearl Harbor was bombed on the 7th of December, FDR tried to stand up and say, if I can rise, America will rise. And he inspired his nation. But political aspirants or candidates need to tell us, okay, I'm dealing with this. But for you to now come out singing a song and mocking somebody for their health, I just think it's in poor taste. And that's why Professor Wole Soyinka talked about, the Yoruba, what is it called, religious beliefs about it, or Batala being the protector of it.
Yes.
He also further in that statement stated the story of a friend of his that's called Parkinson, right? And he moved with them. And I've got a lot of friends that are dear to me that are ill, but it doesn't change anything about them. So mocking people, I don't buy that.
Yes.
Because anybody can fall ill. You see today, you don't see tomorrow.
Right. Well, in another news, I have a text message from a member of the confraternity who wrote to me stating that the pirates were not mocking Tinubu, but were condemning the Emilokon. There is a member named Oscar who is in a wheelchair.
Should I respond to that?
Yes, please, go ahead.
I think Tondo should respond to that.
Anyone.
When you raised the story yesterday,
Yes.
I did not touch it with a 10-foot barge pole. There are certain stories I don't dignify with commentary, either here or anywhere else, because I do find it ableist. And I'm glad that you've shared that perspective for the sake of balance. That's important. But I wonder how Oscar felt when he heard his fellow pirates making that chant. He might have been offended by that. And I feel like we should just try and keep it clean. With regards to Professor Wole Soyinka, I understand why he was so quick to issue this statement, because it's very easy for people to tar you with the same brush when you are associated with a group. It would have been easy to misconstrue that chant as reflecting his own personal views, since he's so closely associated. And that is really one of my pet peeves, quite frankly. Everybody's an individual, thank you very much. But that's why he had to quickly disassociate himself. Now the pirates might feel justified in what they did, but what we're discussing right now is the fact that Professor Wole Soyinka disapproves of it. And we are an ableist society in this country. You go into a lot of public buildings and you just count how many have ramps, have wheelchair access, for example. We're really quite unfair to
You've raised
people.
a very valid point.
No, I'm quite obsessed with it. Because if you live long enough, all of us are on this inexorable decline into decrepitude. If you live long enough, you will lose your mobility at some point. And goodness knows what else. So really, I think it's very untoward.
Yes. Rufa, you wanted to respond to that.
Okay, so I think there are more messages here. Somebody was also sending me a reaction about, them saying that, okay, we are not mocking anybody and all of that, still the sea dogs, reacting to this. But what has to be said is, see, we live in a society where we do not know tomorrow. We live in a society where we are all doomed to be disabled at some point in our lives when we live long. So it's impending. It will happen.
Right.
And I don't think it's right to mock people for their health. And based on their reaction and everything, the song was explicit. It was clear. The hands are shaking, the legs are shaking. It was clear.
Unnecessary.
All right, let's bury that. They are saying they
weren't mocking.
But they weren't mocking anybody. Let's move on from this story. But going forward, let's stop mocking people for their health in society. Let's focus on the issues. And also, presidential aspirants or candidates must be able to tell Nigerians the true state of their health. And I'm saying this because we've had occurrence in the past where on the campaign trail, the presidential candidate had a health scare and it was said, oh, everything was okay. No message was released. But that person later passed in office.
Yeah, well said, both of you. We shall take another story. The governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, on Monday said that his state will use votes to show their worth in the forthcoming general election. The governor, who is of the People's Democratic Party, made the remarks during the inauguration of a flyover in which the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, a member of the opposition All Progressives Congress, was in attendance. During the event, Wike affirmed that Rivers State would always have the support of the People's Democratic Party. His comments come amid speculation over his support for the PDP following his loss of the party's presidential and vice presidential tickets.
We will do anything for the interest of Rivers State. If you say Rivers State does not matter, Rivers State will tell you it does also matter. Do you understand me? At the appropriate time, if you don't like us, we will not like you. If you like us, we will like you. Not be so. If you fall for me, nobody will use our vote for nothing. Our vote will matter, and Rivers State must benefit from anybody we are going to support.
Well, in the meantime, a video showing PVCs that were found tied in a bag and buried in a gutter in Obiakpo local government area of Rivers State is making rounds on social media. Let's take a look.
Address is 118 Okporo. We have another one here, which is Vincent Juliet. All these things are all Obiakpo local government.
Found in Apogu estate.
So who saw these things? How did you see it, sir?
Inside, look at the back. Inside the bag.
Oh, it was buried. It was put inside his bag and put inside the gutter. Beautiful, beautiful. While he was digging the gutter, he said it was buried in this bag and it was put inside this gutter.
Tundu, before I make my comment, please do make your comment really quickly.
I mean, I'm quite horrified. I don't know if to say this is an improvement, because before the last elections in 2019, what we had was a spate of INEC offices being burned.
Yes.
And now what we have is a spate of PVCs being found in gutters and what have you, buried. The last one was buried somewhere. What on earth is this? I'm not one for conspiracy theories. I want INEC to investigate and inform the public. Who is behind this? Do they not have a mechanism to track these things? People register ostensibly because they want to vote, and their PVCs go walkies. And you hear this all the time. People register, they're not able to collect their PVC. They're told to go here, there, and everywhere. And for all you know, your PVC might just be lying in the ditch somewhere. I think INEC does really need to shed some light on this. But with regards to Governor Wike, good heavens, never a dull moment with him. It's so funny. I think with him, I mean, the facts also going back to the 2019 general election, Delta State, which is Governor Ifeanyi Okowa's state, actually delivered more votes to PDP than River State. 594,068 votes came from Delta, 473,971 votes came from Port Harcourt. So some of the received wisdom of how the really major voting blocks form is not quite accurate. But with regards to his clear umbrage at the way he was treated in the presidential primaries and the aftermath, which clearly continues. We just spoke to Reno Omokri, and he reminded me, actually, I only remembered that Professor Yemi Oshibajo went to commission some projects for Governor Wike and named him Mr. Projects in his capacity as acting president at the time. But Reno reminded me that Kayode Fayemi also went to commission projects, so he does reach across party aisles, but it's just that at this time it's all quite fraught, and he's making statements, cryptic comments such as Rivers first, essentially, that Trump-style America first. But I would be careful if I was Governor Wike, because he's still relatively young and he has a long, dazzling political career ahead of him. I would not consign myself to being a regional player. A few short months ago, you wanted to be president, didn't you? You wanted to vie for the presidency on the platform of PDP. So he should pose himself as a national leader and not talk about in Rivers this and Rivers that. He should look towards a future of having some kind of national stature. I mean, that chance is gone now, but goodness knows what the future holds. He has a long road ahead of him.
Yes, I mean, I actually did like the fact that he invited Babajide Sanwo-Olu to that inauguration. It speaks a lot, but also a lot of comments have come out of that, because people are saying that, well, is he really just playing up the power of Rivers State to show that, listen, we can actually trump this election?
So truth has to be said, because it's close, it's politics season already. Officially, they say campaign starts September, but I think it started already pretty much. Everything is hyper, everything is heightened. I think Tundu has been able to state the facts on the ground. He's had APC governors prior to this time. He's got Fayemi there. You know, that was a prominent person that also ran for president in Nigeria to come help him commission this project. So why is there a brouhaha about him inviting Governor Sanwo-Olu of Lagos this time around? But hey, it's all politics season. But going one step further, as regards him saying, yeah, you know, if you don't give me vote, we'll not give you a return. It's just political speak. Because in all of this, it is not the governor that gives the vote. It is the people that go out there to vote. And it is who the people decide to vote for that they vote for. Yes, he's got influence. He can say, okay, vote this way. But the question is it still people that make up their minds in the end? So when politicians speak so glowingly about their election prowess, it looks as though people don't even have a mind of their own. It is still people. The people, Governor can even say they'll vote for them. And the people will go otherwise. Just like you remember the brouhaha between Peter Obi in Ebonyi State when Umar said, okay, it's PDP, it's APC, they're going to vote for here. And some people said, no, we have a right to vote for whoever we want to vote for. So it is about the people. And when politicians say this, I just laugh. And I'm also excited that, we talked about the empirical fact. Secondly, I think going forward, I think we must deploy technology to use. I have always argued that INEC, after registering people, don't even need to give them this plastics called the PVC. Is there a way we can give them, little strips or email or send it to their email in such a way that, because in the end, the only thing they need is the barcode to be able to authenticate that. So is there a way they can give them something, probably email or an electronic form, a paperless or a cardless, that where people can just present it, that you can just authenticate it on their phones and see their data? Because if you do that, if you cut away paper and cards, definitely you will not have cases that people are not collecting PVCs and the likes, and the fact that their PVCs are being thrown away.
Yes.
So if possible, maybe email addresses, I don't know. I've not been able to think through that problem.
Yeah, we've talked about that. We've talked about BVNs and all of that. But this is not the first video that we're seeing. We've also seen a lot of videos from the East, especially as well. The other day I saw one from Enugu State where this man was walking around and there were PVCs everywhere. How can that happen, really?
It needs to be investigated. Yes, really. It's ridiculous.
Well, all right. We shall take our final story, unfortunately. Writer and filmmaker Biyi Bandele has died at the age of 54 in Lagos, Nigeria. Well, according to a statement by his daughter, Temi Bandele, he died in Lagos on Sunday, August 7th. Bandele studied dramatic arts at the University of Ife and during his studies won the BBC playwriting competition. He moved on to London and worked at the Royal Court Theatre. Bandele, famous for his directing of the movie adaptation of Chimamanda Adichie's classic novel, Half of a Yellow Sun, is a prolific storyteller with an unblinking perspective in poetry, novels, plays, and the screen.
I applied for a job as a lecturer in the Department of Sociology, and I got it.
A special woman is arriving this weekend. Very special.
Yes, sir. My name is not Sir. Yes, sir.
Well, stating that he survived by his son, Korode, and his daughter. May his soul rest in peace. I mean, 54 years old is so young. It's such a sad, tragic news that I heard this morning. I am so sad that I'm ending What's Trending on this very tragic note. I learned about him when he directed, Half of a Yellow Sun, that controversy that occurred when that film came out. A really sad situation, Tundu Abiola.
Awful. My heart goes out to his family that he left behind, especially his children.
Yes.
And to the whole creative community in Nigeria. We've just lost such a bright light.
Yes.
Gone way too soon.
Yes.
His soul rest in perfect peace.
Rest in perfect peace. Well, thank you.
It's a rude shock.
Yes.
So sad.
Thank you both for your great analysis, as always. That's all I have for you on What's Trending today. I'll see you tomorrow.